Hello and welcome to Wednesday evening at the Grove. I'm standing here in the sanctuary. I wanted a chance to talk with you a little bit about the topic that I covered Sunday in a sermon. I want to talk with you about this because I think it's important, and also because I actually want to, even beyond tonight, I want to create opportunities, much like we did a couple of weeks ago, actually in Become the Change, where I had a conversation with folks on Zoom and we recorded it and we were able to place that on Facebook Live. I've gotten feedback from that. I think it was helpful, and I want to continue offering opportunities in the days ahead like that. But tonight, I simply wanted a chance to unpack a little bit of what I was talking about Sunday in the sermon. And if for those of you who didn't see that or hear that, you can certainly you can find it on the Facebook or YouTube. You can even find it on the website, locustgrove.com. But what I basically talked about in that sermon was how the challenge that we have in holding convictions on the one hand and offering acts of compassion on the other. And that we live in a time now where people are so divided in their opinions. And this division is still with us. It's not gone. It's not evaporated. It's not disappeared. It's there, and it's underneath the surface sometimes. You can see it. People even prideful in their position, and so prideful that there can be no healing in that. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit about this, and just talk with you, friend to friend, in many ways, just as an opportunity to. Let's talk about what matters. Here's the thing. All of us have the right to develop our own perspective, our own opinion, we have our own ideas, we have our own opinions about things, and that's true of every one of us. Now, those opinions, that perspective, it's been shaped much by your own life experience, where you were born, how you were raised, and who your parents were, and how you went to school, and all of that, your friends, that kind of thing. And so it's not surprising that our opinions and our ideas and even our convictions are different, that there's a diversity, there's a great difference that exists, that the people don't hold the same opinion, especially in a country like ours, in a land where there's freedom, and we prize that freedom. And yet that freedom also is challenging in that it creates this opportunity to have such a great diversity. And it's not that you have your own opinions and ideas and convictions and they're different than someone else's. It's the way we carry those convictions that matter, right? It's the way we posture ourselves in life that matters a great deal. And so I think what's happened, and it actually, it's not just in the country, it's in our communities, it's in churches, it's in families and friendships. You know this. You don't need me to stand here and tell you that. But I will tell you this, that it's caused something that's unhealthy, and we have to pay attention to it and recognize our own part in this. You have to model the change that you want to see happen in the world. You have to decide how to do this and how to live your life, especially as a Christian. So whatever convictions you have, good, great, own them. They're yours. And you came to them, you arrived at them if, you obviously think you're correct, or you wouldn't hold them as your convictions, right? And then you run into someone else, maybe a family member or a friend who holds a different opinion, a different kind of conviction than you do on a particular issue. What do you do with that? Do you just sever the relationship? Do you just walk away, write someone off because they're different? Or do you find a way to work through it? How do you work through it? That's the question, right? Because, the thing about the convictions that we hold is that they are important, but they're not the most important thing. Now, look, I want to tell you something about convictions and opinions and ideas, and I'll just tell you straight. I don't know how else to say it. I'm just going to tell you. I think there's some ideas out there that are just downright, they're wrong. And I think there are ideas out there that are actually dangerous. I think people can hold and harbor certain ideas that are destructive and hateful and spiteful, and their intent is to cause harm. And I think those ought to be called out and recognized for what they are. I don't think any of us should back down from that. But on the whole, I'm talking about on the whole, the way we live our life day to day, so many times we have allowed our ideas and opinions and convictions to be more important than the relationships of our life. And so you see it all the time. You certainly see it on social media. I mean, you know this. You don't need me to tell you, but it happens all the time that people will voice their opinion and someone will disagree with them, and before you know it, you've got a long thread going of people back and forth. I want to give you some breaking news. Are you ready for breaking news? Right here. I want you to hear it. No one's opinion is actually ever changed because you got into this back and forth on Facebook. You do know that, right? I mean, have you ever seen this kind of debate going back and forth on Facebook, and someone finally said, hey, you know what? I was wrong and you're right. You convinced me. I've never seen that. Now, maybe you have. I haven't. So not only a lot of energy is wasted, but boy, a lot of ill will is planted in relationships that way. You and I are called to a different way. We're called to a better way of life as Christians. And we have to learn to model that. And if we don't learn to model it, then we're going to lose an opportunity to be light and salt to the world. And more than that, it'll end up destroying not just our witness, but our life together in community. And you see this in churches all the time. You know what an awkward time this is to live as a leader in a religious community? And I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about across the board. You know what an awkward, challenging, difficult time this has been for leadership in churches and in religious leadership? Here's the deal. If you see something wrong and you don't say it, you're called out for being a coward. And if you see something and you call it out, you're accused of being too political. You know I'm telling the truth. Now, it's not just preachers, though. It's not just people in leadership. It's all of us. It's the way we are called to live our life. It's churches. To be honest, let's be honest. Some churches identify more with a particular political party than they do with any theological or Christian kind of conviction. And again, I said it Sunday, but I'll say it again. Christ didn't call us to be a Republican church or a Democratic church, or a liberal or a conservative church. Christ didn't call us to. We're a Christian church. We carry the conviction of Christ as part of who we are. So you and I, we're called on to do better. That's the word. We're called on to do better. How do you do that? Well, I mentioned again in the sermon, but I'll say it again tonight. This passage, which is so very relevant and so important from Romans. Here are the words: let love be genuine. Let love be genuine. In the church, we can talk a lot about different things, concepts, ideas. Love is a verb. It has to be lived out. And it has to be lived out in a genuine way that has a deep concern and compassion for others. If it's not that, then it's just show. It's just selfish. You know it as well as I do. We're told, let love be genuine. Hate what is evil. Strong word, hate. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Don't grow weary. Do not lag in zeal. Be ardent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints. Extend hospitality to strangers. Bless people who persecute you. Bless them and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. And do not be haughty. Don't be prideful. But associate with the lowly. Do not claim to be wiser than you are. None of us have all the answers. I don't care how smart you are. None of us have all the answers. I don't care what you were taught as a kid that you've held on to and you refuse to let go of. You still don't have all the answers. None of us do. Pride, it doesn't look good on any of us. Not this kind of pride. Not the kind that's driven by ego. We're called to a different way of life. We're called to live in harmony with one another. Harmony. Doesn't mean you can't, you sing your song and you sing the notes you sing, but we can do this in harmony. We can live together in harmony. Yeah, we're different. We have different ideas. We have different opinions. We have different convictions. We do. But we were never called to uniformity. You don't have to line up on everything to live together. We're called together to live in unity. That's where harmony is found. The source of harmony is in unity. We find unity. And unity means there's something more important than our ideas, opinions, and convictions. You know what that is for Christians. It's found in Christ, our life together there. And without that, we will never have unity. Without unity, well, you know how the story goes. There's a lot of hurt in the world. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of division, anger, frustration, discouragement, even despair. But there's also love, the love of Christ and the hope that we have in Christ. I have to learn in my life, and you have to learn in yours, that there's something more important than your opinion. It's love. And love is what bridges the gap between our conviction and compassion. I've told some of you this before, but when we were in Istanbul and I had a chance to stand and look at the Bosphorus Bridge and recognize symbolically what that meant, how it bridged the East and the Western world together, it was such a powerful symbol for me. And it reminded me that that's really the call on our life as Christians, that we are to be the bridge, that we are to be the ones that help bring people together in the love of Christ. God help each one of us do it. May God bless you and be with you and your family. Take care.